Alright, so apparently I was not recording during any of that. Let's see what happened. Since the last time we spoke, I took the meter and I did some continuity testing between all the terminals on the switches and made sure that the same kinds of things were happening on the slow speed as the high speed side, and that all the contacts that were making contact were supposed to be making contact, or the other way around. At the same time, I also tried, by the way, jumpering the contacts in the switch just in case one of them wasn't doing its thing or whatever. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the situation and I'm thinking, the problem that I've got, everybody is telling me this is a problem with the motor start cap. And I just replaced that. And I replaced it with a fan run cap because that's what everybody said I needed to use, what I needed to get, because of course you can't buy these now. And I was sure that I had the wiring right, and everything else seemed to be okay on it, but for whatever reason, when I turned it on the low speed, it would turn on fine. When I would turn it on the high speed, it acted like there just wasn't enough oomph to it. Now, I looked, and both sides of the switch go through this 2UF capacitor and into this common connection here, this green, which was on this as well. Both sides do exactly the same thing. Electrically, what they're doing is they are activating and sending power to two different sets of wires on the same motor. So they're not using the capacitor for speed, as far as I can tell. They're just using it as torque to make the motor go. One side sets a big, and they're considerably larger than a lot of these wires, by the way. These are pretty big, but these are good, good honkin', I don't know what size wires they are, but probably 1/8 of an inch thick wires. And there's a white one, and there is a red one, no, a yellow one and a red one that go down this side from the low speed side of the switch. And there is a white one and an orange one, which go down this side from this side of the switch. Both just go right into the back of the motor. So I had to think about what was going on, and is it possible that this 2UF, even though this is what's on here, is enough to get the motor going at low speed but not high speed? Because it acts completely differently depending on which set of wires it's going down. Even though the switch is the same and the values are the same, all of that. And you've just basically got that one big difference. So I'm sitting here and I've got an extra 2UF motor run capacitor. I bought a bunch of these things off Amazon or eBay, I forget which, just to get them here because I was told by everybody in every electronics forum, this is what you got to get. Nobody makes these anymore unless you want to have them custom made. It's not worth it. Just get some of these for a couple bucks a piece. Save yourself the trouble. And I thought to myself, what if I just wire in another one of these and see what happens? Well, I will show you what happens. Let me turn on the power. And I've got to be careful here because I got a lot of stuff open and I do not want to electrocute myself. My wife will kill me if I do that. And I also don't want to blow this thing up. But so it's on. I have power through these umbilical cords to the back of the machine. And here's what happens when you hit low speed. It turns on low speed. Okay, no problem. Now, it used to be what would happen was you would turn it over to the high-speed side, and it would essentially come to a crawl. Let me turn it off, because I also want to show you here. Here's how the speeds work on this thing. There are two speeds that the motor will go, but then you have two different capstans. Basically, you have the stock kind of pin capstan with which this machine will do 1 7/8 or 3 3/4. There's a little clip on the front where this thing pops off, and it's got a little cut on the side you see there to fit in so that it sticks with the motor. You have to kind of find its way in. Now the machine is supposed to do 3 3/4 and 7.5. There is yet another set of accessories which used to come with the machine and were dirt cheap probably when the thing was new, and now they want as much for it, actually double what I paid for this whole machine for a set of those. But you get basically every time you double the size of the capstan, you get basically twice as fast. So that turns the machine into 7.5 and 15 IPS, which starts to get really interesting from the standpoint of fidelity, because of the fact that you've also now made this so close. I'm really watching to make sure I don't knock that off. They also had to supply you a slightly undersized pinch roller, because basically the two pieces would not fit together properly with essentially taking this from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. So it's like an 1/8 inch here, a 1/4 inch with this thing, and a 1/2 inch with the 15 IPS one on there. So anyway, low speed, no problem. Okay, you put it in play, no problem. Everything's acting the way it should act right now. Okay. This is, by the way, this is the auto stop. This thing, when you turn the machine on initially, it does one of these deals and clinks off. I don't know if you can see that stuff moving in there, but it basically doesn't let anything work until that comes back. And I've got another piece of cam, pot metal cam, that doesn't work right, and I have to figure out where that goes. And so that might be part of the equation, but basically this thing keeps the drive from engaging in any position at all while that's off. The capstan will go, but the pinch roller will not reach up to reach it here. Same thing with fast forward and rewind. Nothing happens. I guess it'll rewind, sort of. Not sure why, but it will not fast forward with that thing and stop. When you go and push this back out, this drops down, and this is why I suspect there might still be something going on here. If you have auto, see what happened, just happened there? If you have auto turn off engaged and you have the thread through it, tape threaded through it, and the tape gets to the end, it does that, and it basically shuts off the drive. So it's a pretty cool thing. The manual actually calls it optional, but I'm not sure that I still don't trust that there is something wrong going on in there. But that is not the point of this video. The point of this video, that's a little side jaunt, is that before, if you recall, when I turn this on to low speed, there it goes, low speed. You might even be able to see the fan back there. And put a mirror back there and maybe you can see it go, I don't know. But it's going. It's actually a pretty quiet little motor now that I oiled it up. What used to happen when I would put it in high speed, if you recall, is it would just basically act like it died. And I would have to kind of get it going a little bit with high speed, and then it would go, but really no torque to it now. Watch what happens now with this extra 2 UF capacitor attached to it when I put it in high speed. Bam. Instant high speed. Instant high speed. Oh, this is still, sorry. So there's your fast forward. There's that. There's play. It does not drop down out of speed when I change those things. Now, I still think this cam here's got to get fixed. I'm not sure this wheel is in the right place, but it's got quite a bit more torque than it used to, and basically as soon as it drags down and I let go, it starts back up. So I've done something different there, adding that capacitor in. I don't know what, but I've done something different there. I think I'm going to go ahead and just wire this right in and find a spot for it to sit. I mean, none of these are getting hot or acting like anything else is wrong with them. But for whatever reason, adding this extra capacitance in here makes it act like a whole different machine. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will let you know once I have tried to run some tape on it what happens. So I think that's part of the problem. If it doesn't run tape now on high speed, then I think there might still be something going on in here with all this jazz that's messed up, because again, I'm still missing a cam somewhere that I found pieces for, but I don't know where it is. So I just wanted to report that progress. I'm going to undo this really dangerous looking jumble of clips, and I'm going to wire this extra capacitor in and see what I get.